watching Republic.
Hi there, good evening. Hope you had a great Sunday. And now it's time to look forward to the coming week. Welcome back to this week's edition of Looking Forward. The show is about stories that are shaping up over the coming days and weeks. News that is developing and would have consequences for your life and mine and impact our choices. Stories that shape India's and world's politics and economics going forward. So let's get going. Tonight's show packs a punch with 5 stories that you should look forward to this week. Story number 1 is on the upcoming visit of the full Election Commission to Bihar. Expect polling dates to be announced immediately after this Patna visit. Next would be a peep into what happens next in Ladakh via Delhi. Because tomorrow, that's Monday, the Ministry of Home Affairs is meeting protester groups, minus the agent provocateur Sonam Wangchuk, jailed in Jodhpur. Story number 3 tonight is on Trump's pharma tariffs that kick in from Wednesday, October 1. What would be their impact on India's pharma industry, you would want to know. Story number 4 is about the tragedy in Karur, Tamil Nadu. 2 petitions are already in the Madras High Court seeking a probe. Politics already unfortunately getting injected into the tragedy. What happens next? And finally, story number 5 is on more Government of India offices moving to the new Secretariat complex on the Kartavya Path in Delhi. Even Prime Minister's office sometime soon. What this Central Vista project looks like ahead of the move, we explore. Let's begin with the headlines. Vijay moves the Madras High Court for independent probe into Karur Stampede TVK alleges conspiracy in which the tragedy in which 40 people, including 16 women and 9 children, lost their lives. Police blames swelling crowd after tragic venue shift in Karur. Tamil Nadu top cop says they had asked TVK to change the venue for the rally, but the party flouted many rules. Injured man moves Madras High Court against not to TVK to hold rallies. The petitioner contended before the court that the tragedy was not merely an accident, but the direct result of reckless planning, gross mismanagement and a complete disregard for public safety. A political blame game already on in Tamil Nadu over the Karur Stampede. DMK levels huge allegations, says ambulance vehicles were blocked and attacked. AIA DMK blames the DMK government for not providing adequate security.
16 लड़कियों में आपने एक गंभीर आरोप लगाए हैं। क्या आप लाई डिटेक्टर टेस्ट के लिए तैयार हैं? क्या आप लाई डिटेक्टर टेस्ट के लिए तैयार हैं? पाता स्वामी, लाई डिटेक्टर टेस्ट के लिए आप तैयार हैं? पाता स्वामी, क्या आप लाई डिटेक्टर टेस्ट के लिए तैयार हैं?
Delhi Baba accused of molesting 17 women caught after weeks of evading arrest. Swami Chinmayan and sent to 5 days of police custodial remand. Sonam Wangchuk's wife dismisses government's claim that Wangchuk incited violence, saying he was protesting in the most Gandhian way possible. She points out that the situation escalated on September 24 because of the CRPF. All right, welcome back, friends. The Election Commission has been in the eye of opposition storm for the last 3 months over this special intensive revision or SIR of electoral rolls in Bihar. The issue reached from the smallest of the villages in the state to the Supreme Court. Ultimately, the exercise is over and the final electoral roll is set to be released on September 30th. That's day after tomorrow. And now we are looking at the brass tacks. The full election commission is going to be in Patna this week on 4th and 5th to assess preparedness of the poll machinery. And then we would know the dates. Bihar is ready to roll.
The date is set for the next Bihar Assembly. It has to be formed before 22nd of November, the day the term of present House expires. And this coming week, we would know the dates of the polling and the day of Bihar results. For the full election commission led by its chief Gyanesh Kumar is set to visit Patna to take stock of the ground situation this week. The chief election commissioner has been a target of some opposition attacks over the issue of SIR.
कई लाख वोटरों का अगर नाम काट दोगे तो ये चलने वाला नहीं है। हम लोग चुप बैठने वाले नहीं हैं। ये आप वोटर का केवल अधिकार ही नहीं छीन रहे, उसका अस्तित्व मिटा रहे हैं।
But the election commission stood its ground and completed the process in time for the polling process to kick in.
ये आरोप को मैं सिरे से इसीलिए खारिज करता हूं कि चुनाव आयोग पर उनका आरोप है। मैं राज्यसभा में था, तीन ECI जो हैं वो कांग्रेस पार्टी के मेंबर हो चुके हैं, लेकिन हमने कभी सवाल नहीं उठाया। हर बार चुनाव में अपनी गलत नीतियों की वजह से वो हारते हैं। ये वोट चोरी नहीं है।
They are trying their best to build a narrative in respect of the SIR, but that is over. SIR has been fully examined by the Honorable Supreme Court of India, so SIR is no issue at all. They are trying. That's why they left this issue. Now they have come on the ECB reservation.
The new electoral rolls as per the SIR are set to be released by the 30th of September, paving the way for announcement of dates which is likely to happen after Dussehra, but before Diwali.
चुनाव आयोग से हमें कोई शिकायत नहीं है। हमने वो दौर भी देखा है जब डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट किसी राज्य का ऑल इंडिया का ECI बन जाता था, और ख़ास तौर से बिहार और ईस्टर्न यूपी जैसे राज्यों में और अन्य राज्यों में भी बूथ कैप्चर होते थे और हम लोग धरने पे बैठा करते थे, एंड विद नो सॉल्यूशन। अब EVM आया जिससे बूथ कैप्चरिंग बंद हो गई। EVM पर भी हमारे कांग्रेस के मित्र ऐतराज़ करने लगे। अब उन्होंने वोट चोरी का लगा दिया। सुप्रीम कोर्ट कहता है SIR में अगर कोई गड़बड़ी होगी तो पूरी प्रक्रिया को दोबारा करा देंगे, लेकिन जो नेता प्रतिपक्ष हैं और उनकी पार्टी है वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के इंस्ट्रक्शंस को भी मानने को तैयार नहीं है।
And the stage is set for the dance of democracy in Bihar.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी का संगठन जो है वो 24 घंटा 24/7 काम करता है। हम वो स्टूडेंट नहीं हैं कि इलेक्शन एग्ज़ाम आने पे तैयारी करें। हम साल भर मेहनत करते हैं।
What are the issues, the agenda of alliances?
बिहार में ही नहीं, देश में घुसपैठिया एक बहुत बड़ी समस्या है। इससे इतर नहीं हो सकते। ये सिर्फ भारत की समस्या नहीं है, ये गजबाए हिंद नहीं, ये गजबाए इस्लाम है जो पूरे विश्व में बीमारी की तरफ फैल रहा है। बिहार हो चाहे देश हो, एक भी घुसपैठिया नहीं छोड़ेंगे। चुन चुन के पकड़ के निकालेंगे उन्हें।
अभी ये राहुल बाबा यात्रा कर गए ना भाई। यात्रा का विषय क्या था उनका बताओ तो जरा। अरे यार, वोट चोरी नहीं था। यात्रा का विषय था जो बांग्लादेश से घुसपैठिए आए हैं उनको बचाने का विषय था।
The opposition, however, sees a self-goal in this BJP position. Listen to Mrityunjay Tiwari of RJD.
बिहार में एनडीए और भाजपा अपनी हार निश्चित देख करके घुसपैठिए का सवाल खड़े करके सेल्फ गोल कर रही है और अपनी ही नाकामी को उजागर कर रही है। 11 वर्षों से केंद्र में इनकी सरकार है। 11 वर्षों में इन्होंने घुसपैठिए को घुसाया और जब जब चुनाव आता है तो ये घुसपैठिए का मुद्दा उठाते हैं।
Alok hits back, bringing in indie bloc's appeasement politics.
देखिए, हमारा विपक्ष जो है वो एक फेक नैरेटिव लेके चल रहा है। वो कहता है संविधान की लड़ाई लड़ेंगे, लेकिन इसी गांधी मैदान में शरीयत के लिए गला कटवा लेंगे। जो कानून बना वक्फ पे उसको उठा के कूड़ेदान में फेंक देंगे, मतलब संविधान को कूड़ेदान में फेंक देंगे। इंदिरा गांधी ने इमरजेंसी लगाई थी तो यही लालू यादव कहते थे इंदिरा ने संविधान को ताक पे रख दिया। ये सब परिवारवादी अपना अस्तित्व बचाने की लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं।
Then there is a new face in Bihar politics. Prashant Kishore-led Jan Suraj Party.
Last 40 years, Bihar has been constantly at the bottom of the pyramid at the national stage. We have been known as the Pichhada state for such a long time. The people who reigned over Bihar and people of Bihar, they do not have the real intention or the capacity to bring a lasting change in Bihar.
Veteran Tyagi disagrees.
2005 में नीतीश कुमार जी के नेतृत्व में एनडीए की पहली सरकार बनी थी। अब नई पीढ़ी को बताने में दिक्कत है, पुरानी पीढ़ी जानती है 15 सालों तक किस तरह का आरजेडी का शासनकाल रहा। जो मैरिन ड्राइव है मुंबई का, उससे 10 गुना ज़्यादा भीड़ पटना के मैरिन ड्राइव पर है, जहां कम उम्र के 10,000 लड़के लड़कियां शाम को घूमते हैं। दिस इज द लिमिट, दिस इज द हाइट ऑफ द गुड गवर्नेंस ऑफ नीतीश गवर्नमेंट।
Jan Suraj dismisses the development pitch, calling palayan or migration of youth as the biggest agenda this election.
Young people from Bihar are leaving for small jobs, jobs which give them not more than 10,000, 12,000 rupees. And that is one reason why the people from Bihar are being abused at different places in different states. People who have ruled Bihar for the last 40 years, they are all responsible for this continuous backwardness of Bihar.
BJP dumps Jan Suraj as a distraction, however.
चुनाव जब आते हैं तो हम लोग कहते हैं फफूंदी बिहार में, अंग्रेजी में मशरूम। तो पॉलिटिकल मशरूमिंग बहुत होती है। पिछले बार भी हुई थी 2020 में प्लूरल्स में, इस बार जन स्वराज की हुई है पॉलिटिकल मशरूमिंग। लोकतंत्र में सबको अधिकार है हुकूमत बनना।
With the agenda set, who would be the chief minister face from both sides?
जो भी सहयोगी हैं, अगुवाई बिहार चुनाव में राष्ट्रीय जनता दल ही करती है, इसमें कहाँ कोई शक है। तेजस्वी यादव जी ड्राइविंग सीट पर है, राष्ट्रीय जनता दल बिहार में बड़े भाई की भूमिका में है।
देखिए, अक्सर बात होती है विथ नो सीएम फेस, नो सीएम फेस। कैसे सीएम फेस नहीं है भाई? हमारा मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार हैं, उनके नेतृत्व में हम चुनाव लड़ने जा रहे हैं, उसमें दिक्कत कहाँ है?
But Tiwari takes pot shots at the leadership of Nitish.
सिर फुटअव्वल एनडीए में है, जहां आदरणीय श्री नीतीश कुमार जी को किसी भी बीजेपी के बड़े नेता ने, आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री, आदरणीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी ने ये नहीं कहा है कि चुनाव के बाद भी मुख्यमंत्री श्री नीतीश कुमार जी होंगे, नेतृत्व में लड़ेंगे। ये सब जानते हैं कि नीतीश जी को बीजेपी चुनाव बाद हटाएगी।
Alok retorts.
हमारे जो अलाइज हैं, चाहे चिराग पासवान, जीतन राम मांझी, भूपेंद्र कुशवाहा, जेडीयू और बीजेपी, ये 5 उंगलियां हैं, 5 पांडव, ये मिल के मुक्का बनते हैं। कोई सीट कन्फ्यूजन नहीं है, कुछ नहीं। चुनाव की घोषणा होने दीजिए, उसके 2 दिन के बाद सारे सीट फॉर्मेशंस की घोषणा हो जाएगी।
NDA also has LJP of Chirag Paswan, which believes they should get their fair share to contest.
to form the government of NDA. And for formation, the second criteria, the solo criteria, should be winnability of the candidate. And that we are discussing. So no pressure tactics.
Is that going to affect the incumbent NDA's fortunes? This jousting for seats to contest.
पिछली बार से कम 200 सीटें हम लोग पार करेंगे। उसका कारण समझिए क्या है। पिछली बार जेडीयू और बीजेपी का अलायंस था। इस बार हमारा जो गठबंधन है वो इंटैक्ट है, लिहाजा हम पहले भी कमी पूरी करेंगे और भी बढ़ाएंगे और ये आंकड़ा 200 पार होगा।
With Election Commission visiting Patna this week, ball would be set rolling in Bihar for an exciting 2 months of the dance of democracy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ladakh has witnessed violent scenes this week, leading to the death of 4, injury to many. Controversial activist Sonam Wangchuk had to be arrested. But this is not over yet. The initial investigation is hinting towards a bigger plot, a Nepal model perhaps, and some Pakistani links. A conspiracy to disturb peace. A lot more is coming to light. In fact, the Ministry of Home Affairs has called for a meeting with the lay apex body tomorrow, that's Monday, in Delhi. With a hope for resolution, Ladakh looks to restore peace and tranquility. Here's the story so far and what is Ladakh looking forward to.
जब चीन घुस आता है तो लद्दाख के लोग जान देकर रोकते हैं। अगली बार वो आए तो हम उनको रास्ता दिखाएंगे।
Yang tene laksa mangpe mols thak chat pe gyurja yang chezeno. Nepal la yang steoto, Bangladesh la yang steoto, Sri Lanka yang steoto, miman se gyurja kyongan optene. Chik chik China tene kyongan op samara gyale.
ये युवा पीढ़ी का बरास था एक तरह।
In the disguise of activism, he was running an anti-India syndicate. Sonam Wangchuk has been arrested under the National Security Act.
आपने कहा एक अरेस्ट हुआ है, क्या कर रहा था वो इंटेलिजेंस ऑपरेटिव पाकिस्तान का?
हमने एक पीआईओ अरेस्ट नहीं, मैं कह रहा हूँ हमने एक पीआईओ को पिक किया था और उसके से इंक्रीमेंटिंग जो चीज़ें जो थी वो पाकिस्तान हैंडलर के साथ शेयर करने वाली मिली थी।
रिलेटेड टू सोनम वांगचुक?
जी जी, उसी की जो सोनम वांगचुक की जो रिलीज थी उसके बारे में।
Two Congress councillors have also been held in connection with the Ladakh violence. Not just a case of protest turning violent, but Ladakh violence has exposed a bigger conspiracy.
सर कुछ उनके जो विजिट हैं पाकिस्तान में वो भी अंडर स्कैनर है?
देखिए सारा कुछ अंडर स्कैनर है, पर अभी जो एज ए डीजीपी ऑफ लद्दाख मेरा काम लॉ एंड ऑर्डर और इन्वेस्टिगेशन ऑफ द केसेस है। जो बाकी है वो बाकी एजेंसीज जो है वो करेंगे।
इन्वेस्टिगेशन में फॉरेन एंगल भी है?
अभी हम देख रहे हैं हर चीज़ में।
While there is a small section backing Wangchuk,
at this point of time it is all accusations, right? So it is a preventive act, right? So it is sort of a precautionary machinery given to the state so that future troubles do not occur, right? So even if they had proof, then what were they doing till now?
Ladakh is on the path of normalcy.
The situation on the ground, the situation continues to be calm. The people of Leh have sent a clear-cut message that they do not want any kind of a violence, and it's the 5th day of this situation that is prevailing here. That is the curfew, like such a curfew that has been imposed. But the people have obeyed with the guidelines, and as we speak, LG Kavinder Gupta is holding a security assessment meeting at the LG Secretariat.
Ma'am, how do you find the situation in?
नहीं, अभी तो टूरिस्ट के लिए सब ठीक है। हाँ, दुकान बंद है, मार्केट क्लोज है, लेकिन टूरिस्ट के लिए ठीक है। ले पैलेस क्लोज था कल, आज क्या
मूवमेंट है?
आज क्या है पता नहीं। आज जो हमने देखा है ठीक से मोनास्ट्री ओपन था, अभी ठीक से मोनास्ट्री से हम आ रहे हैं। टूरिस्ट के लिए सेफ है, कोई दिक्कत हमें नहीं हो।
सर आपको लगता है यहाँ कोई दिक्कत है, कोई डर का माहौल है?
नहीं, कोई डर का माहौल नहीं है।
कोई डर का माहौल
नहीं।
आप लोगों को कोई दिक्कत हुई यहाँ तक?
नहीं, सब ठीक।
Here in the national capital, the week begins with a big meeting on Ladakh on Monday. The Ministry of Home Affairs has called representatives of the apex body Leh, the ABL and the Kargil Democratic Alliance, the KDA, the two organizations at the forefront of the protest.
ये प्रिपरेटरी मीटिंग्स हैं आगे की 6 अक्टूबर की मीटिंग को फाइनलाइज करने के हवाले से।
Obviously, the issue is not going to be resolved in just one meeting or two.
The government is working in the right manner in which it could be beneficial to the people of Ladakh. It requires a constitutional amendment. It requires certain other finer nuances that common people don't understand. And I think the people of Ladakh also in certain sections of their thought process have been led or misled to believe that this is something that can be done immediately.
But the central government is sending a message that it is willing to listen. Ladakh protesters majorly have 4 demands.
As per the demands of Leh apex body, Kargil Democratic Alliance, they have essentially 4 demands. First is that they want full statehood for Ladakh. That means they want to have their own elected government, assembly, chief minister, secretariat and also a high court. Second is they want constitutional protection under 6th schedule like in Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and also Mizoram. And the third demand they have is they want to have 2 separate Lok Sabha seats for Leh and Kargil. And fourthly, they want job reservations for local communities.
Giving statehood to a state bordering China is a major national security matter.
I'm hopeful that it would lead to some kind of understanding and probably the fears, the concerns of the central government when it comes to security, forest, and the natural resources, if all those are taken care of, and at the same time, the apprehensions of the MHA, as I understand, would be security because it's a frontline state and adjoining China, and therefore the apprehensions of security, the apprehensions of forests, the apprehensions of the natural resources over there, all those, if addressed and are taken care of, I think there should not be a problem.
Besides, fulfilling other demands like inclusion in 6th schedule would require constitutional amendment.
Now what happens when you make a state a Schedule 6 state is mostly these states are where the tribal population is more than 90% and local community interests are involved. And I must tell you the distinction between carving out a state and also giving an exception under Schedule 6, giving a special status, requires 2 different majorities of the parliament. The first one needs a simple majority. To have a state is easier with a simple majority, present in voting. For Schedule 6, you need a 3/4 majority. It's considered to be a constitutional amendment. And it's a more remarkable or significant change in the constitution. And Schedule 6 essentially gives all the powers to the autonomous development councils, and they can bar outsiders to purchase lands. So that gives them a riding power from outside.
While a few are trying to take advantage of the complexities between central government and Ladakh,
ये युवा पीढ़ी का बड़ास था, एक तरह का Gen Z revolution.
protest groups also admit that they are fighting for the rights within the framework of rule of law.
हमारे इस पीसफुल आंदोलन को लेबलिंग नहीं करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि ये कोई जेनजी प्रोटेस्ट नहीं है। इसमें हर कम्युनिटी, हर वर्ग के लोग हैं और बूढ़े भी हैं, महिलाएं भी अनशन में रही हैं, बुजुर्ग लोग अनशन में रहे हैं। जो 2 लोग हॉस्पिटलाइज हुए वो बुजुर्ग लोग थे। और नेपाल एक अलग कंट्री है, बांग्लादेश, श्रीलंका जिनसे इसकी तुलना की जा रही है, ये अलग कंट्रीज है। वहाँ सत्ता परिवर्तन की बात हो रही थी, यहाँ हम सत्ता परिवर्तन की नहीं, अपने देश की ही हुकूमत से अपने लिए राइट्स मांग रहे हैं। सिक्योरिटी लैब से एजेंसीज का फेलियर है और इसमें जो अकाउंटेबल है उनको कटोरे में खड़ा करना चाहिए। अगर और जुडिशियल प्रोब होनी चाहिए, एक इम्पार्शियल इंक्वायरी होनी चाहिए। हम तो खुद कह रहे हैं, क्योंकि हमारा मोमेंट, हम देखिए ना, इस जो हंगामे से लद्दाख के मोमेंट को कोई फायदा नहीं होगा, हमें नुकसान होगा।
Ladakh got the status of Union Territory in 2019 and the remaining grievances would certainly be addressed. With the Monday meeting, the central government is clear, minus the agent provocateur. It is ready to business.
All right, friends. TVK chief Vijay's political campaign turned into a tragedy on Saturday evening. 40 people lost their lives as the overcrowding led to a stampede in Karur, Tamil Nadu. In the poll-bound state, political temperature is already soaring. At least 2 petitions have been submitted in the Madras High Court, one seeking a CBI probe, another seeking a ban on Vijay's rallies. A delay, a 30-minute power cut, and utter mismanagement. Multiple reasons have surfaced hours after the deadly stampede. The next week will be crucial as investigation begins in the tragedy.
As the crowd swelled in Karur during Vijay's rally, some of them started to suffocate and faint. A 9-year-old went missing. When the situation went out of control, Vijay left the venue. The next few hours will be etched in the memory of witnesses as an unforgettable nightmare. A day later, the blame game has begun. TVK alleges that there was a power cut which led to the stampede. But the DMK says it was due to security concerns. AIADMK alleges lack of security.
TVK கூட்டம் அறிவிக்கப்பட்டு கூட்டம் நடைபெறுகின்ற பொழுது முன்னெச்சரிக்கை நடவடிக்கை எடுக்கப்பட்டது. இதற்கு முன்பு இதே கட்சி TVK கட்சி 4 மாவட்டத்தில் அவருடைய தேர்தல் பிரச்சார கூட்டத்தை நடத்தியிருக்கிறார்கள். அந்த 4 கூட்டத்திலும் எப்படி மக்கள் கலந்து கொள்கிறார்கள், எப்படிப்பட்ட நிலைமை என்பதையெல்லாம் ஆய்வு செய்து அதற்கு ஏற்றவாறு முழுமையான பாதுகாப்பு கொடுத்திருக்க வேண்டும் அரசாங்கம், காவல்துறை. அதேபோல அந்த பாதுகாப்பு குறைபாடுகள் இருப்பதாக தொலைக்காட்சியில் பார்க்கின்ற பொழுது தெளிவாக தெரிகிறது. ஏற்கனவே நடந்த மாவட்டத்தில் நடந்த TVK அந்த பிரச்சார கூட்டத்திலும் முழுமையான பாதுகாப்பு வழங்கப்பட்டதாக தெரியவில்லை. இதெல்லாம் தொலைக்காட்சியில் பார்த்தால் நான் இதை குறிப்பிடுகிறேன்.
BJP is hitting out at government for failing to provide adequate security.
இல்லை, இந்த 39 உயிரிழப்பிற்கு தமிழக அரசு பொறுப்பேற்க வேண்டும். இதில் முழுக்க அதில் தமிழக காவல்துறையுடைய பொறுப்பு இருக்குது. முதல்ல அந்த இடத்துல பெர்மிஷன் கொடுத்துருக்கக்கூடாது. சின்ன இடம் அது, அந்த இடத்துல பெர்மிஷன் கொடுக்கக்கூடாது. அதே நேரத்தில் பெர்மிஷன் கொடுக்கறது இது எல்லா கூட்டமாக இருந்தாலும் ஒரு வார காலத்துக்கு முந்தி கொடுத்து அவர்கள் அதற்கான தகுந்த பாதுகாப்பு கொடுக்கணும். அந்த பாதுகாப்பே இங்கே இல்லை. அதனால தான் உயிரிழப்பு ஏற்பட்டு.
Police say that the TVK flouted protocols.
Permit them to conduct this event at a place called Lighthouse Roundana. This was not accepted by the police because it was considered to be a high-risk place, considering a large petrol station on the left side and the river Amravati bridge on the right side. So the officers decided it's not advisable to give permission there. We suggested a place because this was conducted in the recent past by one of the political parties with about 12 to 15,000 people were gathered there, and it went off very peacefully. So they also went and saw the place. They finally agreed. They gave it in writing saying that we may be permitted to conduct the event in this place.
TVK has moved Madras High Court seeking a CBI probe, but so has an injured victim, demanding a ban on Vijay's further political campaign in Tamil Nadu. Interestingly, the same Madras High Court had warned the TVK before on overcrowding and its risks.
40 dead, 51 injured, and still many more in critical condition in the Karur government hospital. What we see is what happened last night when the Tamaraga Vetrikaragam TVK leader Vijay, the actor turned politician, had come for his political rally in Karur district. This was his third weekend political rally that the actor had come up with, and this road saw the end to it. All you see here is the slippers of the people who had come here yesterday. Over 25,000 people were here on the same road that you're seeing right now.
Vijay is also in the dock, as many allege that it was delay in his scheduled arrival that led to the overcrowding and chaos. "40 lives are lost, many more scarred." Yet, the blame game takes precedence in poll-bound Tamil Nadu. Vijay, who is looking to contest his first elections and get a foothold, faces a major setback. Vijay is seeking a CBI probe, perhaps looking to prove the entire tragedy as a conspiracy against him. But with a warning, a similar previous instance in Madurai where a man was pushed. Years of experience of being a public figure and a team aware of his popularity. Can he really shrug the responsibility? As the party in power, Stalin government cannot skip the blame either. The future course of action in Karur Stampede will likely be a major point of focus.
Ladies and gentlemen, on October 1, that's Thursday, a seismic shift rocks the global pharma landscape as President Donald Trump unleashes his 100% tariffs on all branded and patented imported drugs. Unless, of course, companies are either manufacturing there or at least breaking ground for their plants right there in the United States. The US government is arguing that this is done in the light of national security imperatives for dealing with the future health crisis. But other experts argue that this move might lead to a health crisis in the present, shooting up for ordinary US patients. India, of course, has a saving grace, as about 90% of our exports to the United States are generic medicines. But of course, the global pharma industry is weighing the changes that begin October 1.
Donald Trump shocked the global drugs industry this week by announcing 100% tariff on all branded imported pharmaceutical products unless companies are building manufacturing plants in the United States. The order becomes effective from Wednesday, October 1st. Given that India is a major contributor to American market for medicines, this could be seen as yet another hit on India's exports. American trade from 2024 indicate that their total pharmaceutical imports value at $212 billion, with India contributing $12 billion, equivalent to 5.98%. In comparison, Ireland exports $50 billion worth pharmaceutical to the US, holding a share of 23.66%, followed by Switzerland at $19 billion with 8.94% and Germany at $17 billion, holding 8.10% of the total pie. The European nations specializing in high-value branded and patented medicine are likely to experience the strongest initial effects of the new tariff policy. But the European Union has stated that their trade deal will shield them from these tariffs. So far as India is concerned, here's the catch. A majority of Indian exports are in the nature of generic drugs and thus exempted from Trump's latest order. That's also the industry view. Listen in to Viranshi Shah, the National President of Indian Drug Manufacturing Association.
Definitely there is it's not a death knell, as you may like to call it, on Indian pharmaceutical industry. And my opinion is based on the fact that last year, India exported approximately $9.8 billion worth of drugs from India to the US, which is close to 30% of our total exports of around 28 billion US dollars. And this export mainly comprises of the generics, which are the non-patented formulations, APIs and similar level of products. So when we say that the tariff is on the branded and patented products, the current economic activity of the Indian pharmaceutical industry does not cover this area.
Further elaborating on how India effectively subsidizes the US healthcare, he stated,
we will have to wait for an executive order because what we are deliberating now is based on a tweet. An executive order usually elaborates the kind of duties and the nitty-gritties of how it is going to be executed. But if you see the impact of Indian pharmaceutical industry, for example, on the US healthcare system, the import from India comprises of almost less than 6% of their total imports of pharmaceutical formulations. At the same time, one of the recent studies have come out to say that almost 47% of the generics sold in the US are sourced from India, which in fact reinforces the point that India is a partner to US and other global nations or other countries in building a strong healthcare system at a very affordable cost. And I think we are a part of an industry that therefore saves billions of dollars of public money on the healthcare and helps those government utilize this money for other important works.
Big or small, the latest Trump tantrum does add to ongoing turbulence for India's trade with the United States. So what's the way forward? For Dr. Ajay Sahai, Director General of Federation of Indian Exports Organization, diversification is the answer.
A lot of Indian companies have their manufacturing base in the US. He has talked about the companies who are investing in US and those who are going for the construction or groundbreaking of the manufacturing facility. The clarification has yet to come for those who are already having manufacturing plant. So in short, not to the extent it may impact some other countries like Ireland, Germany, Switzerland. It may partially impact India, but not significantly. Industry was treading cautiously. They have already moved into diversifying their export base. They are looking into the market of Africa, where many of the Indian pharma is already there. They are expanding, penetrating. They're looking into market opportunity in Latin American countries, Southeast Asian countries, and even with China, because a lot of specialty chemicals for pharmaceutical is being imported from China.
And then there's another angle. It is not all of pharma industry's loss. The American consumer, the sick, the patients end up losing.
India's export of pharma is to the tune of around $12 billion, but it has resulted in saving of over $200 billion to the US health security sector, and probably in next 5 years with India's pharma, they will be saving over $1,000 billion. So it's a huge saving which US health sector will have, and therefore we presume that he may not be imposing tariff on the generics even in times to come. To start imposing tariff on generics, it will definitely impact the prices of the pharmaceutical things in the US market, and it will directly impact the US citizen also. And therefore, we feel that looking into the impact which Indian pharmaceutical sector is making into the US, 4 out of 10 prescriptions are served by the Indian pharma and generics. And therefore, we are presuming that good sense should prevail, and Indian generics should not be impacted, because it will have a huge impact on the US health system also.
The Trump decision is actually raising global alarm bells on the particular aspect.
There can be little doubt that American patients that use the affected drugs are going to be paying more, even if that leads to greater investment in pharma production in the US. It's not obvious that would be possible at a lower cost than the cost of the imports without the tariffs. So no, this is bad news for American patients.
He also argued on how there could be an extension of these tariffs on complex generic medicines.
Whether pharma imports are a national security concern. So I think that argument is taken seriously by some in the US government, and is not completely off the wall. For most of the affected drugs, I think there's no national security reason for protectionism and domestic production. Generic, rather than brand name or registered trademarks or patented products, most of these products are not affected. But clearly, there is talk now about extending the tariff to complex generics and to other so-called biosimilar products, biological medications that are similar to others. If that were to be done, it would really hurt India's exporters of these more complex and biosimilar generic goods.
With many who are bullish on the Indo-US ties, even stating that as the trade deal is inked, India is expected to further benefit from the rising healthcare bills in the United States as a primary pharma manufacturer for generic drugs. All eyes are thus firmly on the deal. The Commerce Ministry's statement after Piyush Goyal's visit to US had also mentioned as early conclusion of the trade talks.
Well, the US discussions with the assistant USTR happened 2 days back. They were productive and are working on the right track.
With a strong pharma sector, diversification formula and a will to surmount the turbulence, cautious optimism is what is guiding the pharma industry. It is over to October 1st for more clarity.
All right, friends, on to our last story tonight. It is anecdotal that when Prime Minister Modi came to Delhi in 2014, he asked his officers, if someone from other parts of the country comes to Delhi and has to see where the government of India is, there was no one place in Delhi from where the massive secretariat operated. Not anymore. There's Kartavya Bhavan on the central Vista, and one by one ministries are shifting there. Those who have been to the famed Soviet-era design bhavans of Delhi, from where the government of India operated till now, know what a change in work culture these new, tech-rich, architecturally modern buildings would do to governance.
On August 6th, the Prime Minister had inaugurated the Kartavya Bhavan at Kartavya Path in New Delhi. As the Prime Minister spoke, he highlighted the significance of the word Kartavya for every Indian.
ये कर्तव्य भवन ये केवल कुछ नए भवन और सामान्य इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं है। अमृत काल में इन्हीं भवनों में विकसित भारत की नीतियां बनेगी, विकसित भारत के लिए महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय होंगे। आने वाले दशकों में यहीं से राष्ट्र की दिशा तय होगी।
Designed for efficiency, the Kartavya Bhavan boasts cutting-edge amenities, advanced security and collaborative spaces to speed up file movement, cut red tape and enable a faster policy decision. Listen in on what Dr. P.S.N. Rao, Dean of School of Planning and Architecture, had to say about the state-of-the-art establishment.
The buildings for the central ministries of the Government of India were mostly built between the mid-50s to the mid-60s. So you have the Shastri Bhavan, Nirman Bhavan and so on. There are quite a few of these ministries on either side of the Rajpath. And these buildings have housed the ministries of the Government of India for a very long time. And these buildings, which were built almost 70 years ago, these have by and large outlived their usefulness. They were built at a different time and age. Today technology has advanced a lot, workspace ambience has changed a lot. So that was the idea with which the new Kartavya Bhavan buildings have been envisaged. These are about 4 buildings on either side of the Rajpath, and these buildings are state-of-the-art buildings where you have all the technological gadgetry incorporated into the buildings. So the buildings provide a very good, conducive, comfortable work environment for all the employees.
Further elaborating on how the new offices will be more collaborative and stress-free, he stated,
locating all the ministries close to each other in these buildings on either side of the Rajpath also gives the advantage of interoperability, because none of these ministries is working totally independent. There are interrelationships and interactions between the ministries. So if all the ministries are at close quarters, then it would be very convenient for one to go across physically. Of course, in the digital age, you may not really want to go across physically, but even so, at times when you have to have a physical meeting, it is very comfortable, and therefore the interoperability of the ministries, if they have to have interactions, it is very, very convenient. The Prime Minister's office, the President's office, the Cabinet Secretariat, all these are located at close quarters.
Speaking about the previously crippling situation of the government's offices, Dr. Rao hailed the Central Vista project.
These things have all come in as retrofits over a period of time. For example, the toilets have been modernized, or for example, a few digital gadgets have been brought in and plugged in. So these buildings are full of wires hanging around all over the place, and then things have all been added over a period of time, but not in an integrated manner. So all of a sudden, if there is a power failure, what happens? Or if there is a major fire accident, what happens? So these are questions which are all addressed in these new Kartavya Bhavans that have been built, and some have already been built and some are yet to be built. The first has already been inaugurated very recently by our Honorable Prime Minister of India. So I think probably by the end of next year, the remaining buildings would also be complete, and then all the ministries would gradually start moving in. Some have moved in and others will also move in.
The Prime Minister's office is also set to relocate to the nearby Executive Enclave, signalling a break from the colonial era North and South Block. The transformation goes beyond the bricks and mortar, repurposing the North and South blocks into the Yuge Yuge Bharat Sangrahalaya, a public museum is a symbolic rejection of colonial hierarchies. Prime Minister Modi has called for the PMO to become an institution of service and the people's PMO, urging a bureaucracy that prioritizes citizens over process. Speaking to Republic, Jayant Krishna, former Secretary Urban Development, highlighted why it's essential to have a new building for a Viksit Bharat.
It will be good for the government's image, and the government employees also may be getting a better mindset to perform their duties better. So there are many good things about this approach of constructing a new secretariat with modern infrastructure, modern buildings and so on. And there are many learning lessons also with this. There is a history also of government buildings, official and residential both, of how they are to be redeveloped or developed, and there are learning lessons also.
He further elucidated on the importance of public-private partnership for such redevelopment projects.
But I think this model of redevelopment as a concept and the public-private partnership, in terms of generation of resources, has to be taken forward. Taken forward means it has to be taken forward to the state headquarters, district levels, and even municipality and panchayat levels. You see, government offices have to have a decent look, and because they represent the might of the people, might of the government, stature and mindset of the people. So if the buildings are dilapidated, you don't feel proud. If government offices, if your panchayat building is looking ramshackle or very shabby, you don't feel proud of your panchayat or your village. Similarly, municipality also. If city municipal building is, not a very decent building, and it is kind of cracked or it has developed, it's looking like it deserves to be demolished, you don't feel proud of your city. So therefore, I think it is this Kartavya Bhavan concept has to be taken forward to the village level also, to the city level, of course to the district and state level.
He explained further on how the Kartavya Bhavan and the Central Vista project hold symbolic value and must trigger change of infrastructure on state and panchayat levels.
So I think the cities will get a new look, new identity. The citizen will get a great enthusiastic evening and day to spend if they get a new and they will get proud, they will get pride in their own city if they get a functionally efficient and architecturally decent municipal office. And similarly for the panchayat also, there should be nice panchayat bhavan and also supported by a nice public office, like public hall, like town hall, like that, a village hall, and a ground also where people can gather, like you can have the Gram Sabha or something. It is a challenge now. You don't get proper places in the city to have a gathering of the people. So, and as I said, that this can be they can pay for itself also.
The Modi government has not just made changes in the addresses of India's power corridors, but with Mission Karmyogi and a 360-degree appraisal system, reforms have been brought to make bureaucracy accountable and transparent. As more ministries move into Kartavya Bhavan on the Kartavya Path and India rejoices the redevelopment project, the nation looks forward to reforms in the bureaucracy under Modi 3.0.